Hello and welcome to another Jynn Does Art. I have reset up my webcam. Hopefully the volume's okay. It's kind of cramped on my hobby desk. And today we are painting one of my favorite dinosaurs, let's switch it to the English side. Yeah, the Miragaia. Am I saying that correctly? I don't actually know how to pronounce it. Whatever. This is one of my favorite dinosaurs. It's a really awesome stegosaur. It's from the company PNSO, who make really nice dinosaur models. And we're painting this. So when I got it, it was already painted with this color scheme, which is not a bad color scheme, but I did want to paint it my own. And so another art project I've been working on is painting my own dinosaur tarot cards. And for one of them, Temperance, I used Miragaia. And ignore me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, whatever. Anyways, I'm going to paint it similar to that. So I have, let's put this down. There we go. I have primed it in pure white right here, and we're going to repaint it. Now, let me first say that I'm so glad that so many of you liked my little Beasts of the Mesozoic T-Rex. This is how they compare size-wise. Now, I'm really glad so many of you enjoyed watching me paint him. I have been painting his big brother. So this is the 1/35th Beasts of the Mesozoic T-Rex. I did order the 1/18th. Let me grab him real quick. Oh my god, he's so big. Oh, he's so heavy. Oh, sorry. I actually have him on the table behind me. So this is 1/35, and this is the 1/18th scale. He's big and heavy and unwieldy. You can see the comparison in size here. Let me try and get the camera to focus a little bit. Yeah, his head is almost as big as the little T-Rex. So, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to fit him in frame. This is why I'm not painting him on camera, okay? He is so big that I can't paint him on camera. It doesn't work. As you can see, he's not done. His eye is not painted. Inside his mouth is still gray, but you can see kind of the color scheme I'm going for. But yeah, so I've been working on this guy, but I've not done any video on it because he's just too big. He is way too big to paint on camera. So we're gonna just put him down here out of the way, and we're gonna paint little Miragaia the stegosaur instead. So, just like with the T-Rexes, I did base coat one side to give me a reference point for what I'm going to do on camera. This is not the final paint job. This is just figuring out where the base colors are going to go. However, let me cover a very important step first. If you want to repaint a model that already has paint on it, there are two things you need to do. One, I would say wash it with water and soap, like just dish soap or whatever. What this does is removes any dust, any oils. If it's fresh from a factory or box, it'll remove any of the mold release agent they use when casting the model. It's just a good idea to clean it, make sure so the primer and the paint can stick. So after you wash it and dry it, you want to get a white primer, or a different color if you want to use black or something, but I use white, and prime it white, just like I did here, and then you're ready to repaint it. I'm actually going to do two videos, one on my favorite stegosaur and one on my favorite ankylosaur. This is Zool, and for those of you who have watched me for a while, you know that I love Zool. He is an awesome little ankylosaur. This one is from Safari Ltd. It's actually Zool too, which is really cool. And his original color scheme I'll put on the screen. I don't have a picture of before, but it was green. So I'll be painting this one in a different video, but in the meantime, we're gonna paint Miragaia instead. So yeah, the main color scheme is gonna be brown with a creamy belly, faint hints of yellow, dark stripes, And then white, orange, and black plates leading down into the quills. Path of Titans is going to add one of these eventually. I really hope it looks like this with the way the plates and the spikes are. I really hope it will. I'll be so happy if Jiggy makes it look similar to this. I'll be playing it a lot. Anyways, let's get started. So I have some colors here. I have white. I have creamy ivory. I have a yellow, which is a very pale yellow, not too bright. A dark rusty brown, which I'm going to get another brown eventually, but for just the base coat, we're using this rusty brown. An orange for the plates. And then, of course, black. So we're going to start with the lightest color, which is white. We're going to put that down. This shouldn't take as long as the T-Rex video because there's a lot less to him. He's not as big. There aren't as many moving parts. He doesn't have a base. So, select one of my paintbrushes. So you always want to work from light to dark. And the reason for this is because, let's say you're using this brown color, right? And you're painting. Well, when you get down here to the belly, it's still going to have this brown contaminating it. You're not going to get a nice, clear white color because you'll have that old paint still there. So I like to start with the light colors and work my way up to the dark colors. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to make sure I'm on camera. I need to line it up about with these stripes, I think. But yeah, so I also do what's called wet blending. I don't really clean my brush in between colors. I let it kind of blend on the figure. That's called wet blending, and I do a lot of that. So I'm not going to be cleaning my brush very often. Now we know that it's going to go very white all along the back of the tail, so we're going to make sure we get that too. Just like that. And don't worry if you go over the spikes. We're going to go over that later. Yeah, just filling in all the white areas right now. Now, most of him is going to be the cream, not the white, but the very center of his belly is going to be white. So we're gonna cover that up right there. Sorry if I go off camera. I'm not used to doing this. It's kind of an awkward setup here, so I'm doing the best I can. I know you guys liked watching me paint before. I want to do it for you again with my two favorite dinosaurs, so when Beast of the Mesozoic comes out with their Ceratosaurus, I'm going to buy that and paint it like my Cerato, like my channel mascot, so that'll be fun. So I've swapped to the cream now. If you can see, the cream goes all the way up to about right the midline of the ribs. So we're just going to, again, not cleaning my brush, we're just going to let it mix naturally with the white. We're going to just cover it all the way up to where the ribs are. Hopefully the lighting's okay. I'm kind of doing this at an awkward time of day. I could turn my little lamp on and see how that works, but I don't think it helps. And then it goes up to the knee on this foot and the entire leg on that foot. Like I said, it helps me to pre-plan where stuff is going to go before I record, just so I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing on camera. And I don't take too much time just sitting there repainting the same area over and over, trying to find the right color balance. It helps to have an idea of where the colors are going to go already. So yeah, I'm gonna paint up the neck. Hopefully you guys can see it. I have a hard, my laptop is facing a different direction because that's the only way I could get it to fit on my desk. So I can't really see what's on the screen very well. So I'm kind of having to guess a little bit. And I also don't have like a super expensive webcam. It's a very cheap webcam. So yeah, it's not going to be like the most fabulous detail ever. But you guys didn't seem to mind last time, so here we are again. We're going to just paint all his little toesies and foot. Get a nice base layer. So this first layer is just putting down a coat of paint for us to do the final paint on top of. This isn't like his permanent final base coat. This is just, or a paint job. This is just giving us a foundation, basically, to work on. And I'm just gonna get the back of his leg here. Now we're gonna switch up a color to the yellow. Remember, we're going from light to dark. And then once it dries, I'll go over it with new colors and we'll cover that later. But in the meantime, we're just doing this right now. So the yellow doesn't cover very far. It's most of this leg, the leg. It's basically transitioning from the cream to the brown is what the yellow is for. So we're gonna just make sure I'm actually on camera because I've been drifting to the left. Just gonna, and again, I'm not cleaning my brush. I'm just going straight into the next color. I'm gonna put more yellow on the face, I think. Let's add some more yellow to the face on this side too. His face needs to stand out a little bit more, I think. There we go. All right, we're gonna do the same over here. I'll do the other details on camera, of course. Right now, like I said, just putting down a base coat. It's very important to have a foundation to paint on top of. And you don't want to paint on top of the paint job that's already there because it's not going to stick. They give their models a coating to make them like waterproof and stuff. That's why it takes a lot to chip paint off of toys. And your paint isn't going to stick very well. It's going to rub off. It's going to chip off. So it's easier to do a primer, the white primer, because that holds the new paint and gives it something to hold on to so it doesn't slide off it. And then putting this paint on top of the primer just, solidifies that and gives you a better base to paint on so that, in the cracks, instead of having all this gray, we'll have the underlying color we're putting on right now. That's the point of the base coat. It's a little bit more important on something like the unpainted Rexes where they were gray, but still good even with the white. Now we're gonna do his little hind foot here. Yeah, I don't expect this is gonna take too long because there's a lot less involved in the color scheme and the miniature than the Rex. So we're gonna switch to the brown now. And this is gonna dry pretty quick, so I could probably just go straight into the next step eventually, but yeah. All right, so we're gonna just let it blend. We can use a little bit more of the yellow if you want to really help it start blending in there. This is again wet blending where you're letting your brush and the colors on your brush mix properly, or mix on the miniature. Not the miniature, sorry. I normally paint miniatures, so I'm also trying to paint and talk at the same time, which can distract me because if I'm really concentrating. Don't be afraid to use your finger to wipe off some extra paint that you don't want to be there. Oh, that's my cat squeaking at me. Hello. What are you doing? What? Jeannie, come here. Hold on, my cat needs something. What's the matter? Jeannie, come here. You need to say hi to the people? You don't want to say hi to the people? Alright, you just want to bother me? Sure. Alright, we're gonna just keep going with this brown. Base coats are usually pretty quick, pretty simple, not too difficult. Because you're just literally just slapping paint on to figure out where you want your colors to go. I tend to use a bad brush for the base coat just because you're being very rough with it because you want to get the paint in all of the little scales. So, it's not quite the same color. I think we need some more cream. I'm trying to match the two sides, but it's not always easy. Let's try some more cream. Yeah, that's more like it. So I guess I didn't use that much yellow last night. I used more cream, I guess. Oh well. Once we do the final coat on top of this, it'll all look the same. And now we just fill in the last bits. I'm gonna switch to a bigger brush actually for the rest of it because it needs just a big ol' brush to fill it in. Actually, I need more paint. That's what is the matter. More paint. Yeah, that's looking a lot more how it is on the other side. There we go. Just fill it all in. Get it in all the little scale details. I'm gonna add some more of this cream right here to blend it better. To match the other side. We're gonna have to add more cream with a clean brush because I went too far down. Again, you want to go light to dark, not dark to light. So now I've messed up right there, but we'll fix it. It can be fixed. We need to wait for it to dry, because if you try to do it while it's still wet, it's not going to make any difference. Dang it, I swear I put down so much of this paint. I guess I need more. There. I'm just going to fill in all the holes with brown. But yeah, I can't wait for this. Oh, I'm screwing up here. All right, we're gonna just wipe off with our finger, and once again, when we use the cream to fix it, we'll fix that too. I went too far down on the tail. Whoops, that's my mistake. But yeah, when Path of Titans adds this dinosaur, I'm super excited because, like I said, this is one of my favorites. I really hope they make it look like this, because there are some reconstructions that I don't like, but I like this reconstruction, so we're gonna switch to the cream and try to correct our mistakes a little bit. We might get some more contamination, but it should be all right. We're gonna keep using the big brush. We're gonna start on the tail. We're gonna just slowly try to cover up the mistakes I made. Sorry, I'm drifting off camera again, aren't I? Luckily, this paint dries fast because I'm using a miniature painting paint. It's not going to be perfectly even. It'll match better when I finish the complete base coat, but we're going to touch up some of our oopsies here. Get the insides of the legs done. Sorry, I'm going off camera again. It's so hard. I have little arms and I have a big desk and it's really full of stuff. But you guys really enjoyed the last video I did of painting, so I figured since I'm going to be painting again, I might as well do a video on it and see if you guys like it still. Plus, like I said, it's one of my favorite dinosaurs, so might as well try to paint it. Okay. We need a little bit more yellow again to try and match the other side just a tiny bit more. We need a little bit of yellow on the shoulder, the back of the leg. Not so much in the middle, but a tiny bit in the middle too here. It's hard to blend once you make a mistake, but it's doable. It's doable. All right, the legs especially have a lot of yellow, so we're gonna just add more in there. And like I said, we're gonna fix it all up once we do the final coat. Alright, I'm going to give this a moment to dry. Probably do a little bit more touching up off camera so I can actually concentrate. We will be right back for the further detail work. Okay, hello, we're back. So, now both sides match. I did the plates on my own, but it's pretty easy. You do white, and then orange, and then black. I mean, there's not too much to it. I went ahead and got it done. They match fairly well now. And we're going to move on to the next step. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to go to my hoard of paint back here and grab 2 colors. For those of you that don't know, I have a massive amount of paint. You see? Yeah, large amounts of paint. Now I got to try and get my webcam back to the way it was. Sorry, I have it clipped to my lamp. Good enough. Alright, we're back now. Oop. Shoot, I never should have moved it. What was I doing? How could I have been so foolish? Is that good enough? Alright, I probably shouldn't have touched it. Anyways, so, now we're going... Actually, you know what? I need another layer of white real quick. Sorry, hold on. Sorry. We're going to start adding the real colors, the detail colors. My cat's back. Hello, cat. Yes, hello. Seems like when I talk, he likes to come in and see who I'm talking to, and then gets confused when he doesn't see anyone. I need to go over these areas here again, with where the brown got onto the spikes. And just kind of recoat those. I need to redo the tail too, because I have some contamination that I need to cover over. We're just gonna quickly go along here. Luckily, we don't need to paint this area very much we're gonna be doing the body, not the head, so this will have plenty of time to dry. There we go. We're gonna add I guess the tail is actually pretty similar, but we're gonna add a little bit more of this down here just to lighten it up a tad. Like, there's never a mistake you can't fix. It might take a couple layers of paint to cover it up, but there isn't really a mistake you cannot recover from somehow. So don't be worried about that. All right, we're gonna wash our brush and switch to the browns and start working on the actual body. So I'm using two different browns. I'm using a more orangey, yellowy brown and a kind of a less red brown. So we're going to start with the orangey brown because remember, light to dark. Put that down here. So I'm going to use the big brush and knock things over with my giant handle on my big brush. So I'm actually going to keep the cream and the yellow that's there, but I'm going to add this brown right above it. Now, I did not do the other side. I'm kind of just winging this as I go right now. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I might regret doing this, but I decided to just go straight into doing this without taking the time to paint the other side. And like I said, I'm trying to preserve the cream and the white there. I do have a little bit of the yellow we've been using left over. So I'm kind of adding some of that between the white, the orange, and the orangey brown and the cream, just trying to preserve the colors that are there. Now the entire lower leg I'm going to cover in this brown color. But the front leg I'm going to leave cream. We're going to leave the front leg lighter color than the back leg. Now we're going to do the tail, and I'm trying to preserve the white there, so we're gonna I'm gonna use my finger to wipe off excess paint as much as possible, just so good enough. Sorry, am I going off camera again? Gosh dang it. Alright, now I'm gonna do the neck. It's gonna be pretty high up because I want there to be some cream going up to the face. Now I'm gonna have to redo some of the cream, like it's inevitable that I'm gonna have to redo parts of it, but and I'm actually going to paint both sides at once now. So we did that side. Now we're going to do this side. Going to paint the back of the leg all the way down to the foot, just like on the other side. But yeah, I'm going to do both sides at once now instead of just one side. Going to do that right there. Going to do the shoulder and up to the head. And now, again, without rinsing my brush, I'm going to start doing the more brown and cover up the red brown with it, because I don't want him to be so rusty red. Oop. And I need to use my paint pokey, because this paint has a little bit of a clog in it. So what you do is you stab it in. Come on, stab it in. And you use it to get the clog out so the paint comes out. Oh, or you just pop the entire top off. You know, that works too. Ah, there we go. I'm going to wipe off my paint pokey. Now I should be able to get paint out. Yep, there it goes. Those paint pokey tools are so useful for these little paint bottles. All right, now we can get our harvest brown color. You see how much more brown that is than the red, so it's a much more natural looking brown color. We need more yellow though. I'm gonna need more of this yellow. I probably am gonna need a little more harvest brown, because like I said, I paint and mix directly on the model. Like on the figure I mix paint, so I kind of need to make sure I have plenty of copies. I use my fingers a lot to wipe off excess paint, so yeah. Anyways, we're gonna go up here. I'm gonna try and avoid going on the white of the plates, but we're gonna have to go over them again eventually because no matter how careful I am going to splatter on them. I'm trying to make sure I stay in the camera range here. All right, so we have a nice brown layer here, but I want to make sure it blends. So we're going to get more of this yellow brown and make sure it mixes, especially on this shoulder where we want a nice smooth blend. And then we're going to get a little bit of this yellow and make sure it mixes right here on the side of the stegosaur. And I just mixed directly on the miniature. So I think that's already looking pretty good. We got a nice blend of cream to yellow brown to brown. Cover this hind leg here. And once this dries, we'll add the striping, do any final detail work, give it a seal outside with a spray sealer, and it's pretty much done. Like I said, it's a lot less work than the T-Rex was because the T-Rex had so many joints and moving parts, and the color scheme I was doing was a lot more complicated, so this shouldn't take nearly as long. I'm going to make sure I get this tail nice and blended. I mean, kind of breaking my rule here. I'm going from dark to light, but sometimes it's okay. We'll bring in the white, the pure white again. All right, now it's time to do the other side. So here, we'll see a comparison. So this was the basic base coat, right? And then this is after we start adding the real color scheme to it. So I do need to get started on this side. We're going to rinse our brush because we need to start from light to dark again. All right. So, and I'm holding it by the spikes and the feet so that I'm not touching the wet paint here, but also this paint dries really fast, so it's not going to be wet for much longer. We're going to add a fresh layer of this this yellow brown, just so we have something to blend with. And now we're going to start adding our harvest brown again. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do the Zool another day because my throat's actually getting a little sore from talking. Hopefully I'm not actually getting sick, but I'll do the Zool another time. But I do want to finish... Oh, I ran out of brown. I do want to finish this guy if I can. I might do like final detail work where I'm like just working really tiny on my own and then just show you guys after, but I'm going to get the majority of the work done on camera for you. Some work, though, is so small that the webcam's not going to pick up what I'm doing very well. We're going to cover that over just like that. We're going to wipe that away. And we need to blend the shoulder some more. The shoulder isn't blended to my satisfaction. All right, let's see. Now the stripes aren't orange enough here. I'm going to have to add more orange, but we'll do that later. Right now I think that looks pretty good. However, it is not... The belly needs a little bit more of this yellow-brown color. My Zool is actually going to use very similar colors to this. I didn't intend it that way. That's just kind of how it ended up. So, a lot of the same colors. We're going to add more of this yellow-brown here. Add in some more of this yellow. Just kind of mix it on the miniature. I keep calling it a miniature. I'm sorry. I paint a lot of miniatures, so it's just kind of I just kind of naturally call it a miniature. All right. I think that's pretty good. It should be fairly dry, but we're going to bring in some more of that white real quick, and then we're going to work on the striping. And like I said, I'm probably going to do a lot of detail work on my own, and then I'll just show you guys what I did, but... Some of it, I just need to sit and concentrate and not try to talk at the same time while doing it. because talking does distract me from fully focusing on what I'm doing, and I am going to make more mistakes that way. But I do like to show you guys my art, and you seem to like looking at it, so... Anyways, we got more of this cream color. We're going to lightly blend it up into the golden brown color. I'm going to do it on the neck as well, and I'm going to get this lower jaw. I think I want the lower jaw to be lighter color than the upper jaw. So, am I still on camera? Barely. All right. But yeah, we're going to bring in this cream color more into the neck here. Cover up what we've splatted over with the darker colors. I get the lower foot here just to make sure it's nice and pale, because I want the front legs to be a different color than the back legs. Definitely need to work on this tail area. Add some more of this yellow brown here. Get some more of this yellow here. Sorry, I moved my camera and now I'm not actually lined up the way I was before. That was my fault for showing off my paints. I actually have to hold the model quite far out in front of me now, which makes it a bit harder to paint. Whoops, that's my fault for screwing up my camera. I'm going to add more of this little yellow. Trying to get a smooth blend on a big area like this, where it goes really dark to light, is a bit difficult. You're probably going to use several coats of paint to get it done, but in the end, you will get it done. It's alright. Alright, we need to do this side now. Same thing. We're just going to blend it all in right there on the model. Cover up some of the areas where you got a dark color onto a light color. This tail definitely needs work, but first we need to do the neck and front leg, I think. This front leg is really dark compared to the other front leg, so let's fix that real quick. Add some of this little yellow in here. And then we're going to add some of this yellow brown. I'm kind of just winging it now because I don't have a reference. I'm just making it up as I go along. Wipe down that a little bit. Perfect. All right. We need to work on this tail. Once we finish this tail, we could get the striping done. Part of what I'll do off camera is just clean up the plates. It's going to take several layers of white to cover up the splat of brown and orange on it. So, you know, that is just going over the same thing over and over again with white to make sure it isn't messy looking anymore. And that you don't have to watch me do. Now we're going to add more of this brown, light brown, up this yellow brown up in here. Alright, we need to actually add a little bit of this harvest brown too. Alrighty then. That doesn't seem too shabby. Oh, we forgot to do the neck. Whoops, the neck needs more of that cream color. Which means we need to clean the brush because it needs to be pure cream. So let's take care of that real quick and then we can start blocking in where the stripes are going to go. Alright, and we're going to have the lower jaw be pretty white. And the neck itself going to be pretty white. We need to mix in a little bit of this yellow just to blend it better. Yeah, it looks pretty good, I think. Alright. Let me find a darker color brown than the one we have so we can start working out where the stripes are going to go. Hold on, I gotta stand up and look at my paints. Alright, let's see what do we have. I have a lot of browns, but which one would be a good shade? We're gonna try earth brown and see how that goes. earth brown. Oop. Some of these paints I haven't opened in quite a long time, so they need to be unclogged with the paint pokey tool. There we go. Alright, let's get the... This might not be dark enough color, but if not, we'll find a darker color. Okay, stripes. Stripes. We're going to start... Ooh, this is the harder part. Alright, it isn't dark enough, but it's dark enough that we can see where it's at and make it darker later. This will let us at least block it in. Alright, I don't know if you can see that. There's the faint little stripe right here. Like I said, it's not actually a dark enough brown, but it'll at least let me block in where the stripes will go. And I can darken them up later. And then I'll probably just do a video where I go over the finished model after and tell you the little detail work I did. I'm going to do a line of dark brown right along the plates. I'm trying to make this not as long as the T-Rex one, because one, it was really long, and two, it was a lot of talking for me, and I'm not used to talking that much nonstop. I'm not, you know, I normally record in smaller time frames. Probably not. This is probably not showing up at all, is it? I'll have to check on the video later, but oh well. I want to make sure the stripes aren't too busy, but not too light either. Sorry, I'm kind of quiet because I'm focusing on what I'm doing. The detail work I normally need to hold closer to my face, which makes me go off camera, which is another reason why I'm thinking I'm going to do it off camera. It's just because it's going to be really hard to do on camera and still have the model be under the webcam. We're going to have the top of the head be dark as well. So we're just going to slather that with this paint. Going to give him kind of a darker top nose, a light bottom nose, and a dark top head. Or top jaw really dark, bottom jaw very light. Does you see that? Is it focusing? Focus. Focus. Yo. Sorry, I don't have a good webcam. I have a crappy webcam. I don't normally use webcams, so I don't have a good one. Alright, we're going to do the other jaw here, just to make sure we keep it even. Like I said, I'm going to have to repaint these paints anyway, so if I get dark brown on them, it's okay. Now, the stripes don't have to be symmetrical, but I like to try and make sure there's at least like an even number on both sides of the neck. Just so if you look at it from the top, they kind of line up a little. They don't have to like be the exact same shape and length, but I like to make sure that they, I don't know if you can see on either side, but like I said, I don't know if any of this actually shows up on the camera, so it's hard for me to figure out if I'm actually doing a good job or not at showing you guys what I'm doing. And of course I keep going off camera because I'm trying to see what I'm doing without holding it way out in front of my face. But yeah, that's the process. You know, I might actually just do the rest of this off camera because it'll be easier on me. And then I'll show you the finished product and tell you what I did. And then we'll paint little Zool, who will be even easier because he won't have all these plates and stuff. And the color scheme I have for him is very basic, so, you know, that'll be fine. But yeah, all right, I'm going to do the rest of this off camera, and then I'll go into it with the finished product. Thank you for watching this far, at least. And just hold on a moment. For you, it'll be a quick transition into the next one. For me, I probably have a couple hours of work before I record again. Hello, and welcome back, where I've kind of gone a little crazy. So I was supposed to just refine the dinosaur and, you know, clean up his plates, and I went a little crazy. So instead of just plain stripes, I did stripes with a kind of a honeycomb pattern. And instead of white to orange to black, I instead switched it to black to white to orange. yeah, so I kind of went a little off the walls while working, because that's the problem with me, is that when I'm just sitting there painting, sometimes it's like, well, I don't really like how this is working out. And then I start experimenting. And that's what happened last night, where I was like, I'm not really happy with how these stripes are looking. And so I started experimenting, and I ended up doing this spotty pattern and the white stripes on the legs, the brown stripes back here. And I'm just like, well, I like this a lot, but I did it all off camera. But I'm not going to trash the entire video just because I went a little crazy at the end when I was supposed to just do detail final work, and instead I reinvented the pattern. So, yeah. Anyways, here's the finished product. When you're done painting, you want to seal it with some sort of sealer. This keeps the paint from fading. It keeps it from chipping off as you handle it. I recommend the kind of sealant they use on model cars. And the reason for this is because there's like big bottles of sealer that they use on like canvases and stuff, but on certain plastics, it makes it sticky, and it never stops being sticky afterwards. And it's hard to tell which plastic does it, but the model car sealant doesn't seem to do that ever. I've never had it happen. So if you're going to be repainting plastic toys or whatever, I recommend model car sealer afterwards, because it seems to do plastic a lot better than the bigger spray bottles, the bigger spray cans of sealer. So yeah, here's my finished product. I'm pretty happy with him. You can see his pretty little spots from above. I gave him kind of a gazelle-like white and black patterned face. It's so hard to tell if my camera's focusing, I'm sorry. But anyways, yeah, here he is. He's beautiful. I love him. I really hope Path of Titans makes a Miragaia or Miragaia. I don't know, whatever. I hope Path of Titans makes one of these similar to this, with this kind of pattern, with this kind of plate to spike transition here. I love it. I think it's awesome. I like it better than the older, outdated restorations that are online, which I'm afraid Path of Titans might go with. So I really hope they go with something like this, one of the more updated representations. But, yeah, sorry for going a bit crazy off camera, but I hope you guys enjoy the finished product. That's about it, really. His belly, because I didn't show the underside. But yeah, so that's about it. I hope you enjoyed. Next time, I'm going to paint Zool. I just don't know when I'm going to paint Zool. But eventually, I'm going to paint Zool. And it should be a lot easier than this, because he's a lot simpler, and the color scheme I have planned for him is a lot easier. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoy the finished product. I'm going to put him on my desk right next to my computer as I play Path of Titans and other games. He'll be there smiling at me, encouraging me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this art video.